Okay guys, this is the video which covers EDA questions in two forms, looking at polite informal and polite formal forms. So noun ieo or ieo and noun imika. This is a level 1 lesson as part of the Korean Grammar for Topic series. All right, getting straight into it. The new vocab for this week is firstly 친구 or friend, 그것, that thing, 미국, America, and 무엇 or moi, being what. 무엇 being its full form, or moi being the shortened contracted form. Note that more is more often used by a lot of people in different settings. All right, so the translation of this is pretty simple, and it is this noun? So, for example, is this an apple? Is this a pear? Now note, in this case, I put the this in brackets because for the majority of the time, this is not said. And the reason for this is context. So if you're holding an apple and you point at an apple or you put it in someone's face and say, apple imika, it's pretty simple and pretty self-explanatory that you're saying this. This thing, is it an apple? Now you can obviously put the igosen in front of it if you want to make it like take the brackets out. But I didn't want to put it in this bit because there's a lot of other things that you can put in the front bit there, and I'll show you some of the other examples which expand the usage of this this bit. Now, one of the bits that you've got to get and got to practice a little bit with this is whenever you ask questions in Korean, the exact same as English, your intonation rises at the end of the sentence. So what this means is when you say, for example, imika, it raises. You just hear it gets a little bit higher at the end. Now for imida, imika, this isn't as important because the form's different. Imida, imika. Even without the intonation, you can tell the two apart very, very easily. But when it comes to polite informal form, ieo, ieo, without that extra little kick at the end, it's very hard to tell, and well, impossible to tell, well, not impossible, it's hard to tell whether it's a question. Now, the reason I say it's not impossible, and this is why this is important but not absolutely critical, is context. And context is one of those things that I'm going to push a lot during this. And it's something that should help you feel less afraid to start talking to people in Korean, because you don't have to know every word that someone says to you to get what they're talking about. Like I said, in this sentence, you even drop the igosen. You don't need to say this. You hold an apple and go, point at it, sagwa mika. It's quite clear that you're saying, you know, this, is it an apple? So much in the same way, your usage of this will give and dictate whether it's a question or not. But even still, it's obviously best to get these things exactly right early on. Hence, imika, ieo, that little kick at the end indicates a question, as opposed to ieo, flat, it's a statement. So having a look at some examples this week, just to sort of round it out, give you a chance to practice some of these. Tim 씨는 친구입니까? So one bit I'll point out just now, and there's another lesson that'll cover these, is the she. The she is a way of showing respect to this person. So you add she to the person's name. Note, you do it to the first name, not the surname. But like I said, that's covered in another lesson. So, is Tim your friend? Tim, is he your friend? Next one, 미국 사람이에요? Are you an American? So, 미국 사람, are you? Now note, in this case, you don't say you at the front of it because, once again, context. So if you're talking to someone, you don't have to go point at them and go, hey, are you an American? Now in English, that's not so important because you is very, very commonly used. One of the things you're going to struggle with initially when you start speaking Korean is you don't use you. So there are words for you, But saying them to another person, especially when you're having a conversation with them, is extremely rude. And generally, in particular, the polite form of it, danshin, if you use that, it's a great way to start a fight. If you're looking for a fight, anyway. So you don't, and in this case, you don't even need to say it. So 미국 사람이에요? Are you an American? If you want to make it more specific and to the person, then use their name. Tim 씨, 미국 사람이에요? Tim, are you an American? All right, so next one, 이름은 뭐예요? What's your name? Much like with you, you don't say your a lot in Korean. As much as the words do exist, you generally don't say them. So, 이름은 뭐예요? It's implied your because you're talking to somebody. And in this case, the moi is, as I said, what. So, name, what is. What is your name? Now, the next one is incredibly useful, especially when you're starting out. Now, there's another bit to add to this, which I'll go through in another lesson much later down the track. But this is the most basic, hey, what is this question? You know, point at something, pick it up. 이것은 뭐예요? Or, once again, same with a lot of the other bits, the 이것은 can be implied and can literally pick it up and go, 뭐예요? What is this? Or, if you're using polite formal, 이것은 무엇입니까? You can use 뭡니까 as well. Both are good. But 이것은 무엇입니까? What is this? And then lastly, if you're not don't hold it there, but it's a little bit further away. 그것은 냉장고예요? Is this a fridge? All right, guys. Once again, with all these bits, you can just swap in different words. But this bit here, 이것은 뭐예요? Or just 뭐예요? Is extremely useful when you're starting to learn and you're talking to a Korean. You know, point at something. 뭐예요? What is this? All right, guys. There are some similar grammar to this, and in this case, it's pamal. And there's a couple of different pamal versions of this same question, both of which we'll cover much later down the track when we cover pamal. But guys, if you've got any questions, hit me up below with them. Otherwise, have yourself a good day and good luck learning.